So we are at the MySQL command line client, which is for the Windows. So if you are a Linux-based operating system user or a Mac user, you have to access the MySQL from terminal, which we have seen in the installation video of MySQL in Linux. So that is Ubuntu that I've shown. So it's pretty much similar for all Linux-based operating systems or Mac systems as well. So please open up your terminal and type down MySQL in order to get into the console. So I got the prompt of entering the root password in here, so I'm going to enter the root password. I believe I remember it. So let's try it out now. What did I give? No, that's bad. I forgot it, isn't it? Nope, I didn't. So here we are. It's taking some time. Yeah, okay. So just got into the MySQL. So this is called as the console. So for the installation of MySQL Server database, we have already seen this. So this is the console that opens up when you're trying to access the MySQL. There are also GUI-based MySQL management softwares that is available for Windows, which is nothing but the workbench that we have installed along with the MySQL installer. But I recommend all of you to actually work with the console in order to understand how to use MySQL in consoles, because if you're going into some kind of a server, there's two ways you can access the MySQL Server database. One is through the SSH, which is just like this, which opens up the console for MySQL, and the next is the phpMyAdmin, which opens up in your browser. So the other way is obviously you can access them through the code, but that is not the right way to access it and do something. Okay, so phpMyAdmin, which could be different for different versions of the cPanels that is available on the internet. So if you are using different one, you might have different one as well. So that is called as the administrator for your MySQL database, of course. So mostly a lot of people uses phpMyAdmin. You can install that in your system along with a server which runs PHP. So if you're a Windows-based user, you can easily install XAMPP. If you're a Linux-based user, you can easily install the LAMP stack in order to create a Linux-based PHP server that can run phpMyAdmin. Of course, you have to use phpMyAdmin install command in order to install the phpMyAdmin. Let's get into this code now. So what we're going to do in this particular video, as you already know that through the title of this video or the whatever, you just came here knowing that what you are going to see in this particular video. Of course, it's going to be creation of database. So before we do something with the MySQL database, we have to create a database. So in order to create a database, there's one command called as create database space database name. And I'm very fast. Let's type it out very clearly. So create, that's nothing but create, and database, sorry about that. And now you have to type down the database name. Try to be a little bit more reasonable. Don't type like ABC1234 or something. If you know that this database is going to be useful for something specific, then give that name specifically, because you can understand that in a much better way. Sometimes you can also introduce something before that, that's a prefix for the database name, in order to make it a little bit more difficult to hack if you are using some kind of a well-known framework or as a CMS. That is nothing but the content management system. But right now we're not going to do anything so specific, so let's go with students database, DB. So this is more reasonable as a name. So that's my recommendations. When you're giving a database name, be more reasonable and also respect the fact that you have to use the database name more often. Okay, so in order to finish this particular SQL query, of course this is called as the SQL query. We have seen this in the first video itself, what is meant by SQL query. SQL is nothing but the structured query language. We have to use them in order to access, insert or update data, or even delete something from the database. You have to use the SQL queries, that is the structured query language. So finish the query language code or the query with a semicolon, press enter. Now your database is created. So that's one row affected, which means that it has actually done something and you have successfully created a database named as studentsdb. So let's use the database now. So let me actually create it using the caps use, and now you have to type down the database name. So we just created it, so studentsdb. Well, this is how you use the database. Before using the database, you cannot do anything specific in a particular database. So if you want to actually do something in a database called as students DB, then you have to use that database in order to do something in the console. Okay, so whatever you do, you have to first specify which database you're going to work on, and that's how you actually start working with that particular database. So if you try to use some of the database which we have not created, for example, teacher DB, so which is not created, we haven't created a teacher DB, that's going to be an error that you'll be getting. So unknown database, the name of the database that you've given, which means that the database is not available there. So if you receive this, you have either typed the name of the database wrong, or your database is deleted somehow. That probably might be a server crash, or you might have deleted it all by yourself, or some hackers did it for fun. You know, hackers do that. So you remember that the particular name of the database is right. You have created the database and there's a lot of data in that, and this is the error that you're getting. Try again. Okay, and if you're still getting this unknown database error for a long time, that means you're gone. That database is gone, so all the data in that database is gone, unless and until you have taken a very recent database backup. So try to take backup of the database every now and then. Every now and then you think that a particular data has been inserted and that is vital, then take a database backup. Okay, that's very important. Well, that is actually the way you have to do it. You have to keep the database alive. Also make sure that if it goes down, or if something wrong happens, like deleting the database, or some crash deletes or corrupt the database, you have to make sure that there is a backup of the database which is available in order to restore the database and make the website or any application that is running on the particular database keep going and be live. Well, that's the end of this lecture. Let's see you in the next lecture. Thank you for watching.